Welcome to Gridiron Ring, a sports talk show covering football and professional wrestling. I'm your host, Cool Hand Luke 96. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to Gridiron Ring on all social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Be sure to hit that subscribe button right here on YouTube. Go follow me on Periscope at Cool Hand Luke 96. And be sure to go check out Gridiron Ring's website as well. All the links are in the description below. You can also follow me on Twitter at Cool Hand Luke 96 and on Instagram at LGoddessart96. Again, all the links are in the description below. College football week 3 this upcoming weekend. I got predictions on the way. The games, some of the games I should say this weekend, have already been canceled, and more could be on the way due to Hurricane Florence that is coming up the East Coast as I speak. Should be hitting the Carolinas and Virginia Thursday into Friday, and then rain obviously into this weekend. So we got 3 games I was going to predict already canceled. Ended up taking another game out to make it an even 16 games this upcoming weekend for week 3 of the 2018 college football season. As you can tell, my voice is still somewhat shot from this past Saturday night. As I said last week, I would be in Pittsburgh for the Penn State Pitt matchup. I was at Heinz Field for the game. So we are Penn State. It was a hard-fought win. They put their foot on the pedal in the second half and didn't look back. Ended up winning 51-6. I'll get to that game here in a minute. But Penn State, they play Kent State this weekend. But as you can tell, as I said, my voice is still a little shot from that game, from hooting and hollering a little too much. But I'll be able to get through this video for my college football week 3 predictions. So I'll get into it right now. But before I do, I'll recap week 2. I went 14-8 once again last weekend. So I'm 28-16 on the year. TCU defeated SMU on Friday night, 42-12, after a rain delay, a 2-hour rain delay in the Dallas area. Mississippi State defeated Kansas State then on Saturday afternoon, 31-10. Mississippi State Bulldogs, they started somewhat slow, but then they picked up the pace also in the second half and beat the Wildcats and Bill Snyder 31-10. Houston defeated former head coach and the Arizona Wildcats, former head coach Kevin Sumlin. Coached at Houston before he went to Texas A&M. Got fired at A&M, landed at Arizona this past offseason. So Houston defeated Arizona 45-18. And this weekend, I thought it was somewhat of an upset weekend, a streak-breaking weekend as well. I'll get to that here in a minute. Duke defeated Northwestern 21-7 in Evanston. South Florida defeated Georgia Tech in a shootout 49-38. Oklahoma defeated Chip Kelly and UCLA 49-21. Kyler Murray 306 passing yards with 3 touchdowns, and then 69 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns as well. So close to 400 total yards and 5 touchdowns for Kyler Murray, who right now is a early Heisman favorite. Virginia Tech defeated William & Mary at home 62-17. Georgia went on the road to Williams-Brice Stadium, defeated South Carolina 41-17. Ohio State defeated Rutgers 52-3. They get their first real test this upcoming weekend against TCU in Dallas, and it is a neutral site game. It's going to be played at AT&T Stadium, home of the Dallas Cowboys there in Arlington. College Game Day will be there. They will be at the TCU campus, and then Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit will have a call at 8 o'clock Eastern this upcoming Saturday on ABC. I'll be on Periscope for that game. I'll be on Periscope as well for the Penn State and Kent State game at noon Eastern on Fox Sports 1. So be sure to follow me on Periscope at Cool Hand Luke 96. I know I said my college football video last week and my NFL video last week as well, and also on Periscope when I was on Periscope for the Falcons-Eagles game that kicked off the 2018 NFL season, that I wouldn't be on, for any college games last weekend because I was planning on going to the Penn State Pitt game, in which I did But then I also said I was probably going to be on for a game on Sunday, but as you can tell, my voice is still shot. I can barely talk, and it's been a couple days since that game. So there was there wasn't going to be any way I was going to be able to call a game, do live reactions, play-by-play of an NFL game there on Sunday. But this upcoming weekend, I'll be on Periscope for 2 games on Saturday. First college games of the year for me. As you know, I've been to 2 games already. You know, the Penn State App State game week 1 and the Penn State Pitt game week 2. So I wasn't home, wasn't able to watch a lot of football. Obviously, have seen a lot of highlights and have read a lot of stuff as well. But first college games this upcoming weekend for me on Periscope. Kent State at Pitt on Saturday at noon, and then Ohio State TCU at 8 o'clock on ABC. So I'll be on Periscope for those. So be sure to scroll down, click on that Periscope link, and follow me on Periscope at CoolHandLuke96. But Ohio State, they get their first real test this season, this upcoming weekend against TCU. This will be the 3rd and final game of Urban Meyer's suspension as well. And he has still been allowed to coach practice throughout the week. But this will be the 3rd and final game of his suspension that he got right before the season started. And then he'll be back next week when Ohio State hosts Tulane. And then the following weekend, September 29th, Ohio State will come here to Happy Valley to play Penn State. And I will probably be at that game as well. So no Periscope for me for college that weekend, but probably NFL the next day if I'm feeling it, if my voice is feeling it. Notre Dame hung on defeated Ball State 24-16. Colorado came back, scored in the last minute, and defeated Nebraska in Lincoln 33-28. Navy defeated Memphis 22-21. Iowa defeated Iowa State 13-3 to win and retain the Cy-Hawk Trophy for the 4th straight year. Clemson defeated Texas A&M 28-26 in what I thought was the game of the week, the best game of the week. Missouri defeated Wyoming 40-13. Drew Lock 398 passing yards and 4 touchdowns. Indiana defeated Virginia 20-16. Hoosier running back Stevie Scott had 204 yards rushing and 1 touchdown as the Hoosiers defeated the Cavaliers. Kentucky defeated Florida for the first time since 1986 on Saturday, 27-16 in the Swamp. Dan Mullen's first big loss of his Florida head coaching career. And by the way, like I said last week, I was pretty damn sure whenever I saw that last time Kentucky beat Florida was in 1986. Yeah, Penn State won the national title in 1986. It was January of 1987. Now, yeah, history does repeat itself. I'm not saying Penn State is going to win the national championship this year. That would be great, though. Don't get me wrong. And like I said last week, I would be fine with losing that one game, which I did because I picked Florida, for Penn State to go on and win the national championship this year. But the football season for both college and the NFL, high school as well, it's very, very long. That's why they play the games. This weekend, as I said earlier, I thought it was upset weekend. There were some upsets that really no one thought would happen, but they did. But that's why they play the games. This is a long season. Teams are going to win. Teams are going to lose. So I'm not saying that, but yeah, it would be nice. But Kentucky defeated Florida 27-16 for the first time since 1986. Minnesota hung on, defeated Fresno State 21-14. The Golden Gophers secured the win with an interception in the last few minutes. Penn State, as I said, defeated Pitt in Pittsburgh at Heinz Field 51-6 after a dominant second half. Trace McSorley, Sean Clifford, Miles Sanders. It was a team win. The defense had 4 sacks. Team win. And Pitt, yeah, it was raining. Both teams missed field goals, but Pitt really didn't even show up to play. They did have them. They did have Penn State right where they wanted them at there at halftime. It was 14-6 at halftime, but then Penn State came out. Penn State came out in the second half, and as I said, turned on the Jets and never looked back. And Penn State defeated Pitt. Hopefully, I never say that again. Penn State defeated Pitt 51-6. Next year, Pitt will come to Happy Valley for the 100th meeting of the Keystone Classic. Stanford then defeated USC at home 17-3. The 3 points that USC put up, lowest amount of points USC has scored since 1941, November of 1941. That was a month before Pearl Harbor. Cal then defeated BYU 21-18, and then Arizona State defeated Michigan State at home 16-13 on a game-winning field goal as time expired. As I said, the best game of the week was Clemson and Texas A&M, in my opinion. A&M almost came back and won, but Clemson hung on. Impressed Kentucky. They went down in the swamp, defeated Florida for the first time since 1986. Kansas, they won their first road game since 2009. They broke a 46-game losing streak on the road as they defeated Central Michigan 31-7 on Saturday. Disappointed Northwestern and Purdue. These two teams met in week one. Northwestern hung on and won by 4. Northwestern lost to Duke at home 21-7 this past weekend, and then Purdue lost on a game-winning field goal to Eastern Michigan 20-19 after a missed extra point by the Boilermakers early in the fourth quarter. Games this weekend then, as I said, Hurricane Florence is coming up the East Coast as I speak. We'll be hitting the Carolinas sometime on Thursday and to Friday, and then rain will be hitting the region as well all weekend long. Boston College is supposed to go to Winston-Salem to play Wake Forest. As of now, because of this hurricane, it could get postponed, it could get canceled. There's already been 3 games canceled. As I said, I was going to predict those. The games that have gotten canceled as of now, East Carolina and Virginia Tech. East Carolina was supposed to go to Blacksburg to play the Hokies. It would have been the second game in as many weeks for East Carolina against an ACC opponent, but that game has been canceled. No makeup date will be announced. Both teams will finish with 11 regular season games. The other two, where's the other one at? One of them is West Virginia and NC State. Where's the other one at? Oh, the other one is Central Florida is supposed to go to Chapel Hill to play North Carolina. Looking at my notes there, I was getting a little confused. Couldn't find it there. Central Florida was supposed to go to Chapel Hill to play North Carolina. North Carolina is 0-2. Larry Fedora, this could be his last year. Had a down year last year, 3-9. Start off this year 0-2. Now you get a game canceled. Not going to be made up either. Both teams will finish with 11 regular season games as well. I was going to pick Virginia Tech against East Carolina and Central Florida on the road against North Carolina, but both those games are canceled, as I said. And then West Virginia was supposed to go to Raleigh to play North Carolina State, and this would have been the second game for West Virginia in the state of North Carolina this season. They played Tennessee and Charlotte week 1, defeated the Volunteers 40-17, but this game has also been canceled. So 3 games have already been canceled due to Hurricane Florence. More games possibly could be as well. And the Boston College Wake Forest game. By the way, I was going to pick West Virginia over NC State, but that game's canceled. But as of now, Boston College and Wake Forest are still going to be playing Thursday night. This game will probably end up getting canceled, but I'm going to take Boston College to go on the road and defeat Wake Forest in this early season ACC showdown. They could move this to Saturday. I don't think the teams would mind that. I don't know why. The other 6 teams, the other 3 games that have already been canceled, I don't know why they didn't move them to Saturday. They already are on Saturday. I don't know why they didn't move them up, to the middle of the week here maybe, or on into Sunday, or even next Monday. Because hell, Coastal Carolina, yeah, they're an FCS school, but they moved their game up with whoever the hell they're playing this weekend. I saw to Wednesday of this week. Just because the Hurricane's going to be, hitting the Carolinas and the Virginia area towards the end of the week here. But Boston College, I think, will beat Wake Forest. Oklahoma, if they play. Oklahoma goes to Ames, Iowa to play Iowa State. Sooners in a blowout. Kyler Murray, probably another big game for him. Florida State is going to go north to the Carrier Dome to play Syracuse. The Orange will look to start 3-0 for the first time since 2015. I think they do start 3-0. Florida State obviously had trouble with Virginia Tech week 1. They almost lost to Sanford at home last week. They hung on and won. So now they got to go on the road to Syracuse, New York. Hostile environment inside the Dome. Big game for the Orange. So Syracuse, I think, defeats Florida State on Saturday. Next game then, because the other two were Central Florida, North Carolina, and East Carolina, Virginia. I had next in line. Vandy goes to South Bend to play Notre Dame. The Irish, they hung on last weekend against Ball State. David Letterman's alma mater, Ball State. But Brian Kelly will have the Fighting Irish ready to play this upcoming Saturday at 2:30 on NBC against Vanderbilt. So I'm going to take Notre Dame over the Commodores. LSU goes to the Plains to play Auburn. This game is at 3:30 on CBS. This is the first big SEC showdown of this 2018 college football season. LSU looked good against Miami, Florida there in Dallas 2 weeks ago to start the season. Auburn looked good against Washington, and also in another non-conference early season showdown against Washington and Atlanta. And then both teams also won last weekend. So Auburn, they're playing at home. I got to take the Tigers. South Florida then goes to Champaign, Illinois to play Fighting Illini. South Florida won in these two teams' only meeting ever last year, 47-23. Illinois barely beat Kent State week 1 and Western Illinois this past weekend, week 2. So give me South Florida on the road against Lovie Smith. SMU goes to Ann Arbor to play Michigan. Michigan will be winning this game very, very big. SMU, they only put up 12 points last weekend against TCU. I think Michigan's better than TCU, even though they lost to Notre Dame week 1. Michigan's playing at home. Michigan big. West Virginia, as I said, was supposed to play NC State, but that game's canceled. Another game on Saturday, before I forget, I have it down here. I added it in late, is Kent State at Penn State. I'm going to take the Nittany Lions, obviously, in this one. Should be an easy win for Penn State on Saturday. Knock on wood, they'll probably start out slow like they normally do, but then pull away in the second half. And like I said, I'll be on Periscope for that come noon Eastern on Saturday, September 15th, 2018. So be sure to follow me on Periscope at CoolHandLuke96. BYU goes to Wisconsin then to play the Badgers. Wisconsin won this game last year in Provo. Expect another big game for Jonathan Taylor. He had a career-high record-breaking game last weekend as Wisconsin downed New Mexico. Taylor had 250 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns. Boise State, so give me Wisconsin over BYU. I know I said I'd never pick against BYU again. I picked them last week and then they lost. So, it's a toss-up, but Wisconsin is one of the best teams in the country. So give me Wisconsin at home. They'll be jumping around there come fourth quarter time and jumping around even more after they defeat the Cougars on Saturday afternoon. Boise State goes to Stillwater to play Oklahoma State. If Boise State wins, and I think they will, this will be the upset of the week. Boise State will make a New Year's Six bowl game, at the end of the year, because their schedule the rest of the season really isn't anything spectacular. But they'll still have that big win on the road against a non-conference opponent. Alabama then goes to Ole Miss. Close, but Roll Tide. USC goes to Texas. This is a rematch of the 2006 National Championship game. USC won last year in the first meeting since that National Championship game. USC won in overtime last year, so it was close. They won 27-24. I expect another close game this upcoming weekend in Austin. USC, they only put up 3 points last weekend against Stanford on the road. They go on the road for the second straight week to Austin, Texas now. Give me Texas at home. I know they lost to Maryland to start the year off, but give me Texas at home. Ohio State then goes to TCU. They go to TCU, but it is a neutral site game, as I said. It's in Arlington, Texas, at Jerry World Air, where the Cowboys play at. I'll be on Periscope as well for this game. Buckeyes, this is their first big test of the season, as I said earlier, and this is the third and final game of Urban Meyer's suspension, so he'll be back next weekend as they play, as Tulane will come to Columbus, and then Ohio State will come to Happy Valley the week later. I expect this game to be really, really close. I would not be surprised if it goes to overtime, but give me Ohio State in the game of the week, as College Game Day, as I said earlier, will be in Fort Worth. Washington and Utah, early season Pac-12 showdown. Give me Washington on the road. Arizona State goes to San Diego State. Arizona State defeated Michigan State at home there last weekend on a game-winning field goal, 16-13. I thought they got lucky by that. They really didn't play well, but they still found a way to win. San Diego State playing their second Pac-12 opponent already this season. They went to Stanford week 1 and lost. Bryce Love, they did shut Bryce Love down. I think they'll shut Arizona State down as well. San Diego State defeats the Sun Devils on Saturday night. And then Fresno State will go to Pasadena to play UCLA. And I think Chip Kelly will pick up his first win as UCLA head coach. So those are my Week 3 college football predictions. Be sure to go check out my NFL Week 2 predictions and WWE Hell in a Cell predictions, as those videos are also right here on Gridiron Ring's YouTube channel. So be sure to hit that subscribe button right here on YouTube. Go check out those videos. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to Gridiron Ring on all social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Periscope, and Gridiron Ring's website. And also follow me on Twitter at ColehandLuke96 and on Instagram at LGoddessArt96. So thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like button. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. I will see everybody this Saturday, and I'll be on Periscope for Sunday for NFL games and WWE Hell in a Cell.